Welcome. Welcome to Parents Make a Difference. I'm your host, Josie PV. Have you ever wondered why some people achieve and some people don't? I love to learn from people who are moving forward, who are achieving, who are overcoming obstacles, having victories, because I think the key is the way they think. Today, I'm excited to have with us someone who is one of the top producers in the insurance field. He has sold that is the largest policy in history of a company called Desjardins. The largest in 150 years in history. That's a big deal. I believe that we can learn from each other, and as we learn um, success principles from each other, from those that are achieving, we can share them with our families, we can use them in our lives and we can share them with our kids. So I am excited for you and myself to be here to listen to or to spend some time with John Saikaley from Desjardins, who owns his own company, insurance company. Welcome, welcome, John. It's good to see you. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Josie.
Wow. If you can share with us some of the keys that you feel were part of your success in these last few years.
I guess if I look back, I would have to give, if I'm looking at it, I would say probably my personality. I'm a very patient person. I think being in the business for over 30 years, you're constantly building the relationships you have with, clients and prospects. And that's really what it is. You're building that relationship, and that relationship comes with it trust. People do business with people whom they like. And if you're in it for the dollars, that would be the wrong approach. You really have to be in it for the friendships that you make along the way, along the journey. And some of those friendships are lifelong. Some of them could be short-lived. And I think if you continue moving forward and help people in our careers, in our personal lives, and our professional lives, I think if you show some form of genuine, then I think people will want to continue doing business with you. People will they'll trust you more. They'll you're the person when it comes to whatever it is you're offering, whatever solutions or whatever you're selling. And so when we look at it from a personal side, it's very similar to what you do at home with your relationship with your partner and your children. Your children are there to trust you. Your partner is there to trust you. And then in the business side, it's the same thing. You want to be able to have people that you work with around you. They know that you're reliable, you're trustworthy, etc. So I think that would be the sort of base, if I was to say.
So you're saying that patience and building relationships is very critical ingredients to your success. So, okay, patience, if someone doesn't have patience or if someone's working on their patience, how would you encourage them because we need patience with our family too, as you said, right? We need patience in business. We need patience with our family, with our kids. What strategies do you use to try to be patient?
There's a rule that I live by, and it's live, work, play. And most people will have heard of those three letters, of course. And it all depends on how you manage those words. And you can change those words in any minute. You can change them daily, weekly, monthly, annually. It depends what your goals are. What do you want to get out of it? I've gotten to a point where I find my work is play. My work is living. I don't find it as, going into work or dreading the day that I come in at, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm excited to get in. Um, my personality is quite interesting. If you ask my partner, my wife, she'll tell you, I'm like the little baby that if you have a toddler at around 8, 9 o'clock, I'm starting to get antsy and I start to sort of, want to go to bed. I want to go to bed because I'm tired. But in the morning, I'm that baby that wakes up at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, ready to go, and I'm full of energy. And so, if you've had children, then you would know that sort of feeling of that sort of energy that child gives you. Um, and I think if you incorporate live, work, play in your daily life, then it doesn't feel like you're just working. You have to make it fun. So you got to go to places. You can't just sit in your office. You got to move around. Take a break, go to the local coffee shop, grab a coffee, come back, go for a walk, chat with your colleagues. And then when you need to work, you hunker down and you work for a few hours and then you take another break.
That's good advice also if we're helping our kids, trying to navigate them through, let's say, they're trying to achieve greater success in their subject areas, if they're in school, or um, if they're moving into a career and they're working really hard, and we just see them, over exhausting themselves, taking breaks and putting some more fun in life. And as parents, I think we need to do that too, right? It's a success principle, I think, just for living. We have to have more fun.
Absolutely.
It sounds like you do it with intention. You know you need it. It's going to make you fresher for when you go back to the work.
That's right. Worry less. I think sometimes we worry and we hold, again, a saying is, don't sweat the small stuff. Try to move on, you know, um, don't worry about it as much. I mean, a lot of people tend to watch the news and you look at the world and what's going on, and, you know, uh, the news can be very negative and that could drain you as well. If there's a task or a problem, I try to break it up in pieces and I say, okay, well, how am I going to tackle this problem? And I don't tackle it head on. I tackle it in small pieces and little bits. And for me, it's like a process. Anything that is anything that looks complicated, I break up in as many pieces as possible, and I literally check off those tasks. Then I move onwards.
Mhm.
Um, I tend to have a lot of things on the go, and a lot of things I call it things in your pipeline. And so when you have all these things in your pipeline, that things you have to do and tasks that you have to complete, I just manage them one at a time, and I look at what's priority. What do I have to do as priority? So I look at it as I have 3 dogs, and my 3 dogs need dog food. So I know I have to go out and get some dog food. I've got to go to the store and pick it up because otherwise they won't eat, and it's important, right? So as simple as a task like that. And so that's how I sort of manage my day.
Do you ever put, like, I've heard a strategy is putting A, B, C on your list, and A has to be done. B comes in second, it's not as important, and C can wait, and then they can move up. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, I guess similarly. I mean, I don't use that method, but I guess I do write down a lot of things. I have a black book notepad next to my bed at night. I think everyone, in my age group, we all wake up a few times during the evening, and sometimes we wake up and there's a thought in our head.
Mhm.
There's something that pops up, and we're like, "Oh, I forgot I have to do this," or I have to call somebody and wish them a happy birthday, or something. And we write it down, throughout the day. I have another book in my car, and as I'm driving, sometimes things come up again. The same thing. You're listening to the radio, and certain words sort of trigger thoughts. And so when I stop driving, I'll write down something, and I'll say, okay, I remembered that, and so these are things that just they're little things that help me, and they help me keep moving forward. as opposed to moving backwards.
I love the fact that you are taking your own personality and trying to tweak it so you know what works, what doesn't work. And it sounds like this is what you've done for the books beside your bed in the car. And I mean, that really is for anyone. We can all problem solve. If we find that there's something we need to work on, we can figure out a strategy, because that is a huge key, is figuring out the strategies that work for us, right? And sometimes it's trial and error. And so, I mean, you have you've had success, and for that reason, you've probably had bigger problems, bigger issues to deal with, because the more you're out there, the more you have a larger business, or you're creating more business. There's just more obstacles to overcome. And I love the fact that you said you try to worry less, because in fact, you probably had more things to worry about than someone who doesn't have perhaps that size of a business. Um, so I mean, those are great things. Now you were talking about relationships. Relationship. Can you give me an example how you would help to nurture a relationship? Because relationships are so important, and sometimes we work so hard on achieving, and it could be even for kids too. I mean, achieving, but then they're not having friendships around them. But relationships are so important, in with our partner, with our kids, in business. How do you help to nurture it? Like, what's an example? People learn more from stories than they do from us giving them step by step. So, do you have any kind of story that you might be able to share?
On the business side, I make myself available to clients. I make myself available to clients, associates, colleagues across the country. And, you know, it doesn't matter the size of your wallet or how much money you make or who you are. You learn from each other. And it's not just whom you meet, it's what you do with whom you meet. And working together with the people that you meet every day will bring you a lot more success. But if you just meet somebody and you say, well, thank you for meeting, and you never connect with them ever again, then how will you learn from those people? So the connection is very, very important to me. I make myself available 24 hours, 7 days a week. I know it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but I don't. I'm not exaggerating. That connection alone with on the business side with my lowest to highest client is by far exceeds everyone, all my competition. My competition can't compete with me. I'm confident in the fact that I make myself available. I'm not a 1-800 number, but I make myself available. So I know that gives me the strength, and it gives me the confidence that, you know what, those relationships are going to be strong. And that's where some of my success came from. If I look at my lowest client could contact me. I have to be able to determine and manage, my time and say, okay, well, how much of it is a priority for me to get back to them? And if I have time, I will. It's no problem. For my highest client wants to talk to me all the time on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And we would be considered their trusted advisors. My official title is I am a financial advisor. I hold a couple of different licenses on the investment side, and of course on the life insurance side. And so to some of these clients, we manage a lot of their assets, a lot of their money, investments, portfolios, et cetera, et cetera. They don't want to go through an assistant. They don't want to go through a 1-800 number. They don't want to go through a website. They want to be able to connect with the advisor, whom it is, and they want to get the quick answer. And not a day that goes by, I have many text messages, phone calls, emails that I have to address. And so behind the scenes, I have staff that'll do all the paperwork and all the admin work. And so I make myself available. Essentially, what I've created was I'm almost like a customer service representative. Mm. I'm almost the 1-800 number where you could call and you speak to me live. That's what I do on a regular basis, because people want to talk to you.
People want to talk to people, not to
That's what it is. There's never a time or a day that I'm that busy that I cannot get back to somebody.
So it's investing time in people, it sounds like is one of the major keys. Investing time with people. I mean, it sounds so simple, but do we really do it? Sometimes Sometimes it's just tweaking things that can make you so much more um, stronger in a relationship. And like you said, getting back to people, and how many people don't get back to other people, and it's like you lose that trust. You lose that feeling like, oh, they're not going to answer their phone, or they're not going to get back to me because they haven't answered messages before in the last short while, or so that is it interrelated. I mean, interconnected to trusting that that you're there for that person, even to say, okay, texting them, I suppose, and saying, I'll get right back to you maybe by later tonight or something. But I think that's a great point that I don't know, maybe the parents out there listening is something that they can work on. I'm sure it's something I can also work on too. But getting back to people, and especially our own family. Sometimes when we don't want to deal with something, it's so easy to like ignore it or to say, I'll get to it later. It's tough to deal with things that you don't want to deal with, but it's better to just move through it and call that person, right? And just work through that issue if there's an issue or something that has to be dealt with that maybe isn't as pleasant. But talking through, I think, yes, that's an important key. I remember you sharing something with me how you also, when creating relationship, I mean, you don't feel like there's anything beneath you. Like, if you were mentioning about being part of a social club, you join these social clubs and create friendships, and you're like washing the dishes and doing whatever it takes and just helping out, just giving
Right.
of yourself.
I mean, some of that stuff, I guess I grew up, no shame. I mean, if somebody asked you to volunteer and wash the dishes at an event, a charity event, or you're helping less fortunate people, then there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you get up and help. You help. You do what you can. You do what your strengths are, and you try to get better within your weaknesses.
Are you
We
saying your
all
strengths are washing dishes?
sure. I'm a good. I can tell you, I could probably do a lot better than most. But yeah, I mean, it's. I think if you're able to volunteer your time and do things, it's good to keep moving, good to keep going. So a lot of people may wonder, when do you have downtime? Well, I create my own downtime. I'm about to book my holiday winter getaway down south with my spouse, and we'll get away and we'll relax. However, my phone is live, so if I need to speak to my clients or family or friends, my phone is live, so people can talk to me as they wish. I mean, there's only so many hours in a day I can sit on the beach, right? So without driving myself crazy. But we go down and we relax and we chill and we come back and we're recharged, and then that's it.
How do you find that your parents might have influenced who you are today?
If I look back, my parents immigrated to Canada back in 1967. Obviously, they didn't come with a lot of money. They were newlyweds. They came with my sister, so my sister was about 2 or 3 years old. My older brother was just born, and then of course I was born a few years later. I guess looking at it, my mom was probably sort of like the hard worker, keeping us sort of in line and straight. My dad worked, of course, to support the family, and it was more hard work. My parents they didn't come to Canada educated. So they did what they could. If I was to say the values they taught us would be hard work. Hard work pays off. I think sometimes we get caught up in the latest, greatest, let's say scheme, and I think sometimes kids today want to look for that, quick shortcut to success. I can tell you, there's no shortcut to success. Success is a long road, and it's a challenge. It's an adventure, and enjoy every minute of it, because whatever happened yesterday, you're not getting back. And that the saying, "Is it a jungle out there?" It's a jungle out there, but enjoy it. Have fun.
So is it their example that was more powerful to you, or did they do something that inspired you? Or sometimes it works the complete opposite, but was it their example more, or did
I,
they tell
I
you to
would,
work hard?
yeah, I would say seeing them work hard, seeing them, visually working hard, long hours. They owned a restaurant, and they would work from 5, 6 in the morning till 6, 7 o'clock at night. And seeing them work for such a long period of time, yeah, I mean, they put in the hours, they put in the work, and they brought us up. So I think visualizing, or seeing them was very important. And the reinforcement on hard work pays off.
Did you work in the restaurants also?
I did as a youth, in my teenage years, right till my early 20s when I got into this career. And as I got into this career, I was still working in the food service industry, and it is hard work. It's not easy.
So was that time that you kind of had together too, because you were together in the business, or did you not see each other? Did you?
A little bit of both. I mean, growing up, my parents would be, we were young, so my aunt would take care of us, and we'd always, I guess, the family business was always number one because you had to make a living and it had to keep going. You never knew what the next day would bring you. So it was sort of that. So I guess maybe that uncertainty, whereas maybe somebody who works in the government had a guaranteed pension, had guaranteed benefits. I remember getting into the industry I got into, and I remember my friends, saying, "Well, you could take off any day that you want, and we could go golfing on a Tuesday." And I'd look at them and I'd be like, "Absolutely not. A Tuesday is a busy day for me." And
Mhm.
their reply would be, "Well, you're self-employed. You can take off anytime you want." I said, "Well, yeah, I probably can, but it's not wise to." And they couldn't understand. But being self-employed, you had to create your own paycheck. You had
Yes.
to create your own benefits.
Yeah.
So I could say, after 30 years in my industry, I still work hard. I don't take a Tuesday off particularly to play golf. I'll try to play golf on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday. But I guess it's a different drive. It's a different mindset. You have to be able to prepare yourself for that.
So this mindset that you have in regards to relationships, in regards to working hard, to having more patience, what like in regards, how are you passing down some of these strategies to your kids?
I think my kids, my two daughters see me. They've always seen me working, even back. So my oldest daughter is 27, so she'll remember some of the days being still in the restaurant, and I was studying, for this career and stuff, and so she would have seen a couple of years of that, and my youngest daughter would have seen a couple of years as well. They're, I always tell them, and the odd time they'll say, "Well, I want to be like you, Dad. I want to be successful like you." And I always tell them, "You can't be. It's not possible because I'm me. I'm who I am. You're going to be who you are. And so you have to find your strengths within yourself. What are you strong at? And then amplify those and manage those, and make sure that you keep going. And on your weaknesses, try to be better on your weaknesses, whatever those weaknesses are." And so if I look at it, so one of my daughters suffers a little bit of dyslexia, so a little bit of math issues. So I always tell her, take your time. Use a calculator. There's nothing wrong with using a calculator.
Mhm.
Use a calculator, and just take your time and see what's going to be good for you. And there's no sense in rushing something. My oldest daughter sees hard work pays off. She works really hard, and she has that good work ethic. Whereas my younger daughter is more towards detail, wants to do well, and it's just a matter of managing that. If we look at sports and we look at hockey, or basketball or baseball or football, any of these sports, you know, there's always your starting players. And then your starting players always have backup players. And then your backup players have, other backup players. And those backup players want to become starting players. Well, they have to get developed more. And if I was to say, if I was to choose and I was to look, I was not the type of player to come out of the gates really fast. I slowly evolved into the person that I became, and I built the confidence over time. Where sometimes you have players that come out of the gates and they're superstars. They played in college or they played in high school, and they just have that natural talent. For me, it's taken me time to evolve in the success that I've evolved in. It didn't happen overnight. But I can tell you, when I look at my field, I could say I have the confidence to go the distance with anyone else in my field. I can compete with any other advisor across the country. I have that confidence. So I guess, pushed away the fact that I've learned that no one is better than me. I'm as good as the next person. And I think if you change that mindset and don't give up so easily, then you'll have a better chance at succeeding. Is don't don't become a pushover, so to speak.
Yes, I love to see um, the potential in people because I know who they are is not who they're going to be. They have a choice. And so I never take for granted the potential inside. And that's why I wanted to do Parents Make a Difference, because I know that when we can help to guide our children, and we just keep working on ourselves and keep working on helping our kids, that there's so much greatness there. There's so much greatness within us and within the possibility of who they can become, and who they want to become. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the potential in all of us. And like you said, you were, it wasn't, you were just there. You grew to become who you are today. It was part of a journey, part of obstacles, I'm sure, part of, overcoming, because there is no victory without obstacles, right? And you definitely, this year, you've had a great victory, and I anticipate more victories in the future. But it's just to say, you know what? The possibility. You've got to think of the possibility. There's so much out there that we can make happen, but relationships are important. Taking time with each other, being patient. Um, it's a key factor in, I think, just in life in general, in whatever we're doing. We need to invest time in our kids, invest time in ourselves, invest time in our partners. Anything we want to grow, we need to invest time. And we need to figure out how to be patient with each other, because if sometimes we'll just have to walk away. Everybody's different. Some people are more patient, and some people can learn strategies uh, to move in that direction. But there is hope, and that's what your story tells us. Your story, I is a story that I'm excited to share with other people, because you know I wonder where our parents could be years from now, where their kids could be, because they choose to believe that that they can grow, that they can learn, that they can move forward, and we all can. So thank you so much, John. I enjoyed listening to your story. It's a story of hope. I wish you great success. You've such a great ordeal that you've already were able to, achieve what you've already achieved. And thank you for sharing your time, because I know you have a giving heart just to be here and sharing your time, sharing uh, your experience, your thoughts, your advice, your opinions. And I hope that the parents out there get something, even if it's just one thing, to propel them a little bit more further ahead. Because it's one step at a time, like you said, one bite at a time, one little task at a time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And parents, remember, you make a difference.